Once again, it's the middle of the week, which means we must be invading Blender's turf. Blender typically around this time is teaching y'all, all the tricks of the trade, all the different ways to take down the tournaments with 40,000 people in there. Obviously, some of y'all are tuning for that. Hey, there's a slate too. There's baseball, a big boy slate actually. The sites are kind of switching things up, I guess. FanDuel is concentrating more so on their night slate when it comes to their main slate. That starts at 6:35. We'll be on later today for that. At least I'll be at crunch time. I think I'll be on, but I'm not sure. I have not checked the schedule, but I presume I am. I guess we'll find out soon enough. That doesn't matter, though. It's daily fantasy sports. We care about not necessarily the entire day, but this slate, Blender, big boy slate on DK. Lots of money to be made. Of course, FanDuel's running a very early slate as well, too. If you guys have any questions in chat, please specify which slate you happen to be playing. Blender, how are things in your world? How is Hump Day? And I did see, I don't know, when are we getting away? Because I saw your tweet. You're going to Vegas. You're going to Alaska. You're going to go see, Jesse Pinkman. Say hello. Give him my regards.
Why am I going? Where's Jesse Pinkman?
I don't know. They didn't specify. Jesse. Is that a spoiler? It's been long enough. Come on, man. I watched Breaking Bad. I don't know where did he go? Did he go to Alaska? Have you not seen El Camino? Like, are you serious? Really?
No, I watched once Walter White died on that floor, and spoil what? You said we could spoil it.
I didn't.
Once he died on the floor of the lab or whatever, and then Jesse Pinkman drove away. Right? See, exactly. Like that's it. Breaking Bad's over. What do I have to worry about?
First of all, you're supposed to watch Better Call Saul, the prequel. Secondly, you watched 5 seasons of Breaking Bad. I presume you enjoyed it. You liked it. You thought it was a good show. Yes,
extremely good show. Yes.
Yeah, spectacular. They made a movie, a 2-hour movie. You have no interest in it?
There's so much stuff on my plate, Dean. Dude, there's so much stuff to watch.
I
haven't watched the new season of You yet, and I like that show, and that's still in my queue.
It's a completely ridiculous show, but it's fun. Don't ask too many questions, and it's a popcorn show. There's one more season, by the way. They've already announced there's one more season after one you haven't watched, and that's it. They're done. But it's an absurd show.
So El Camino is like a post.
Yes, it's a post Breaking Bad movie. How have you never heard of this?
No, I have no idea. What do you mean? I don't know. I haven't Googled.
You have the internet? You have Chat GPT?
What is so? I'm going to go on Chat GPT, and it's going to automatically. The first thing it's going to tell me before me prompting is go watch El Camino. I mean, no, of course not.
I like Breaking Bad. What do you suggest I watch now? I don't know. I have not used Chat.
I'm not on message boards and forums talking about the characters or anything. How the hell would I know?
I just can't believe you've never heard this. Like, there was a moment, it was really, really hyped. They talked about it a ton when it came out, but all right. Never mind.
Better Call Saul is a prequel. I know that. I haven't watched that, but I know that.
Oh, you haven't watched, but it's spectacular television. Jesus.
When do you have time for all of this? I have plenty of time, and I still don't have the time.
You don't watch sports. When you're not watching sports, you can be watching Better Call Saul.
I'm watching pro wrestling, Dean.
Well, how many hours of pro wrestling are you watching?
There's a lot, Dean. There's a lot.
It's huge now. Yeah, it's there's the Raw and there's the AEW on Wednesday nights. TNT keeps trying to get me to watch.
They're coming out with a new show, Dean, starting next month. It'll be on Saturdays.
The Saturday night's main event.
No, they're calling it Collision, but whatever. It's going to be on prime time on Saturday.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm going to do then because the UFC is on at the same time, and I actually watch UFC.
TJ, by the way, in chat, he's going to be on later. What's up, chat? Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Hit all the things. Hit all the buttons. We're here until all the way up to lock. TJ is going to be coming in as well as Dave Potts. Cheeseisgood, 2-time millionaire winner. Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth. They'll be coming in around noon, taking you all up to lock 12:35. Plenty of time to knock out this slate. We want you all to join the conversation, obviously, in chat. We want you to hit the like button. Whatever you want us to talk about, we're happy to do so. This is just a general conversation of the slate. When the Crunch Time crew comes in, they go around the horn, get their favorite plays position by position, and all that good stuff. But I actually really, really think this is an interesting slate. We'll talk about in a second. But you're going to Vegas and you're going to Alaska. Is this all the same trip?
Yes. I'm not back and forth or anything. What ended up happening is that in Las Vegas, like Memorial Day weekend is when AEW runs Double or Nothing. They're one of their big pay-per-views. So last year we went for, and typically run their TV show on Wednesday there also. So it's like a whole week type of thing, Wednesday through Sunday. So we went last year. So we decided to go this year again. And then I got a cruise deal through Carnival that like basically makes basically a free cruise. That as long as you pay the tax and the fees, like, and then on all of these select cruises, so it's like 98 different cruises, and I'm like, maybe the biggest cost is the airfare. So it's like, is there a cruise that ends or starts at the time that we go to Las Vegas? And it turns out this Alaska cruise does. So it's like, in order to change our flight from Louisville to Las Vegas and Las Vegas back to Louisville, and then just have Louisville to Seattle and Seattle to Las Vegas, and then the difference in price was like nothing. I was like, okay, why don't we do this? It's only our entire Alaska cruise between the two of us is $450 for it.
And is that taken care of? You got the drink package and the meal package?
Yeah, we get and also free drinks. Yes.
Oh man, that's pretty sweet, man.
That's right. So nice. That's the reason that we're going.
In Seattle's your port?
Yes.
Oh, nice. That'll be good times. When do you take off?
We fly out on Monday.
All right, so you're going on vacation until I guess starting next week.
Right.
Who's going to be filling in?
I'll be gone the 15th through the 31st. I'll be back June 1st.
All right. Well, you enjoy
June
yourself.
1st as far as shows are concerned. I'll be back on the 31st, but I don't know about waking up to do a show early in the morning when I get home at like 11 at night on a travel day.
I saw you tweeting, and I was like, "Am I going to get Blender like in the middle of a cruise right now in Alaska? That'd be some dedication." But apparently, you're not on your vacation just yet.
I mean, I'll still bother you on Twitter if you want.
Please.
I got the Wi-Fi.
TJ wants to know when you're going to start covering AEW for his website.
I don't want to write about dude. I don't even want to write about DFS. I'm going to write about wrestling.
You can talk about it. That's easier.
Well, if there's a show, if his Agents of Fandom wants to have a wrestling show, where it's a guy that talks and ends up having 90% of the conversation between two people. I mean, that's fine. I'll do that.
Yeah, it's much easier just talking as opposed to writing for sure.
Let ChatGPT let ChatGPT take all the stuff that I say and then make that into the article.
CM Punk's coming back. That's a big hot button topic, right? I not to get you all derailed. I imagine as a wrestling fan
coming back again.
Yeah, well, there was a whole fight backstage, is my understanding, and like a real fight. And
so it looks like
I like Twitter. I see people talking about these things. I know what's going on. Kind of, sort of, somewhat.
You follow wrestling more than I follow the Breaking Bad universe.
Well, that's on you. That's your fault. All right, we'll talk about this at another time for sure. Again, we got plenty of time to knock at the slate. Big boy slate for sure.
Why do you especially call it for an early one? Slate? What makes this a big boy slate?
Because it's a Wednesday afternoon slate. These are normally like 4 or 5 or 6. So compared to other Wednesday afternoon slates, they're usually 4 or 5, 6 games. And we have 9, I believe.
Is that much of a bigger boy?
It's a bigger boy, yeah.
It's a medium-sized boy. A big boy slate is like a 14-game slate. This is like an adolescent child type of slate.
We haven't
had
those
this slate is like going through puberty. It's like right at that level where it's almost a large slate, but it's not a large slate. Things are happening to the slate's body that it doesn't understand. Strong hair in weird places, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah, understood. She squealed in chat, says, has anybody ever won in this past month? I'll tell you who won last night. Bobby Gums. Shout out, Bobby. We were on the show last night. Myself, Bobby, and Head Chopper.
Bobby took win 100,000 the other day?
Yeah, he didn't tweet about it or anything. He just does it like quietly in the dark. Nobody cares. But Dan Black made sure to point it out. I wasn't aware either. I had no idea. Yeah, Tuttle won 100K. I won the home run yesterday. I think it's called the home run, the $20 3-entry max on DK. I mean, and I won it. Are you sitting down, Blender? I hope you're sitting down.
Well, I won it. $1,500.
No, I think it's 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah, flat payout. It's one of those fun contests. I wish it was a bigger field, but what are you gonna do? But I won it with a 5-2-1 Blender. Are you okay with that?
So what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong.
You get angry. You need a 5-3. That's the
no.
rules.
I never say that. I never say that.
But you're very strict on your 5-man stack. 5-man stack. That's it.
When in doubt, given all things being equal, you should be correlating more.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
but
the only message. Sometimes, Dean, you have to talk in extremes so that the people out there can get the point across.
Cub stack, by the way. Shout out to the Cubbies. And I heard I was on the Cubs, and then I heard Dave Potts mention it last night. He's like, "Yeah, the Cubs is my favorite under the radar stack." Christopher Morel, talking about him yesterday, Jack in a Bag. That Cubs lineup is actually respectable. There's some good DFS players, but hey, we're not talking about the Cubbies. We're talking about today's slate. Today's slate, good pitchers, a good collection of pitchers. Clayton Kershaw, Luis Castillo headlining that. Kevin Gausman, a good pitcher, but kind of sort of up and down, right? Zach Wheeler, a good pitcher, but maybe better real life than he is actually DFS perspective. Christian Javier, good pitcher. We saw last night what Framber did to those Angels. The Ks are down a tick this year, but still pretty good, 25, 26% last year, including last year, 31% last two seasons. And there's some really interesting cheap pitchers in this slate as well. Offenses, it seems like the Yankees are going to be so heavily owned. We know, everybody knows this. The A's are horrific. Probably the worst starting pitcher in the slate, if not on the podium for the worst starting pitchers in the slate. I'm not sure if the worst ones would want to stand on that podium. Why would you even give them a medal or play their anthem? But Kyle Muller, probably worst three pitcher on this slate. And we know definitively backed up, and I use the term backed up loosely by that horrific Oakland bullpen. The Yankees are going to be crazy popular. Almost a 6 total. Weather is popping there as well. Chief meteorologist Kevin Roth, his Weather Edge tool, 94-game sample, an increase of home runs at 22%, an increase in runs at 22%. We're talking about 71 degrees, wind blowing out to center, right center, 6 miles per hour. So it's a good weather spot. The Yankees are going to be crazy, crazy popular. I think there are some interesting pivots. We'll talk about it. But your general screenshot, your 30,000-foot view of this slate, there's a lot of ways to go with pitching. Hitting, yeah, I think there's some interesting pivots off the Yankees, but I assume you're going to be away from them just because of the way you play, or maybe playing a little bit differently. Your thoughts as far as the slate? That's kind of my overview.
Well, a lot of low totals. So, really, on average, the offense on this slate is going to be much lower than on most slates. We have so many teams with under 4 totals. Oakland, Colorado, Detroit, Cleveland, Milwaukee, Texas, Miami, Washington, and then the teams that aren't the Yankees have 5.9, and then the other decent offenses are just 4.5. Nothing that really stands. San Francisco's 4.7, Houston's 4.9. I think the big differences between every other team than the Yankees is not as dramatic as the Yankees are to every other team. Now, the ownership is going to be there, but
yeah,
I don't think pitching is that straightforward. I think you go a multitude of ways at pitcher. I'm playing 4 lineups. I'm more inclined on this slate to possibly just I'll take a shot on 1 or 2 teams stack wise, and then just mix up the pitchers, maybe something like that. Because just in construction, you have pitchers at the high end, you have pitchers at the low end. If you're playing a lot of lineups, I'd be more inclined to figure out what 2 pitchers end up giving you 50 plus points, and there may not be many stacks that do that well.
So pitching-wise, ownership-wise, Clayton Kershaw right now, Blender, 45% ownership against these Brewers. And we'll talk about it. The pitching is pretty deep. Tuttle, by the way, shout out Tuttle on the expert survey, kind of pointed this out to me. And I did kind of dig into even more how horrific they've been this season versus lefties. You name an offensive category, Milwaukee's been the worst team in baseball versus lefties when it comes to WRC+, when it comes to ISO, when it comes to WOBA. You look at that Milwaukee lineup today, there is one lefty and Yelich. The rest is not very good. It's very, the platoon advantage, sure, but these guys stink on the Milwaukee side. Miller is leading off, and it's a lot of Ks too. Miller, Contreras, Adames, Yelich, Brousseau, Anderson, Voit, who's terrible now, Taylor, who has some power but strikes out a ton. And then Weimer is their biggest contact guy, Blender, their biggest contact guy, betting 9th. So I love how this sets up for Kershaw from a strikeout perspective. 27.3% collectively as far as striking out stretched back to last year. This year specifically, we're talking about 28.4%. Adames, 41.5% striking out versus righties. Again, these samples are a little bit small because it's just the season versus lefties. But there are a ton of Ks in there. The power is virtually non-existent outside of Contreras and Weimer. Adames should adjust, small sample stuff. But I like Kershaw a lot, but, he's going to be heavily owned. So I understand if you want to get away from that. Castillo at 40% versus Texas, sure. Wheeler at 17%, getting a distinct difference. I want to pick on Milwaukee or Texas before I want to pick on Toronto. Worth noting, by the way, the other part of this is this slate is kind of like stretched out, right? We're talking 12:35 is first pitch, and we have 4 o'clock games. Seeing it's such a big boy slate, we're including all those games on DK. Gausman versus Philadelphia. Gausman's been kind of up and down. Obviously, historically, a really strong pitcher. We don't know about Schwarber. Schwarber left yesterday's game with a foot. He had a foot.
He had
so
a foot?
the game. He had a foot. Well, he's got 2 feet. Yeah. Well, and look at you. You're here.
So his problem was that he only had 1 foot?
No, he's got 2. My understanding, he's got 2 feet. But 1 was dinged. And X-rays were negative. But sometimes, they might give him a day. We'll see.
I've dinged my foot before, and I've come on a show. What
have you? You had an eye. Remember you had a face.
I had an eye. I had a face. I still did shows.
So maybe you're tougher than Kyle Schwarber. I don't know. I mean, to be fair, you just have to sit there and just yammer. You know what I mean? You don't actually do anything.
Have you seen Schwarber at the plate? Sometimes that's all he does also.
He yammers.
Just stands there. What?
But he wallops the ball when he gets a hold of it sometimes.
I wallop I wallop some takes, right? Get ready for the venom bombs.
Speaking of venom bombs, TJ is in chat and he'll be on later, so we might as well get it out of the way. When he comes on the show, he could drop all his Spidey bombs. Hit the like early, just as he's showing up. He's ready to go. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. I'm not sure what his threshold is for likes today, but I don't know if he's dropped that just yet. But Spidey's been pretty hot. Shout out to Spidey. Credit where it's due.
What are the 2? They're tied for the top. The 2 highest home run projections in the bat today.
Okay, I mean 1 is easy, like Judge.
No, that's incorrect.
What? Really? Nope. Huh?
He's 4th.
You know what? I think that's outrageous for the record, but okay. I think
the record will I will put that down in the record. Okay. Sure.
The court reporter made sure to note that. You know what? I'm going to say Jock Peterson.
Oh no, he's not even. Oh, okay, he's like down here. Yeah, no, he's in the top 10, but no.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm rattled now. I can't believe that. Why would Judge? No,
Judge is up there. I mean, Judge is 4th, but I mean, I'm
refresh
just on this slate because the number 1 overall is Pete Alonso, but that's not on this.
Well,
slate.
What? That's a different slate. That's the night slate.
I know. I'm not counting that slate, Dean. I'm telling you, I'm counting the ones that aren't just on this slate.
Yeah, the Polar Bear faces Hunter Green tonight in Cincinnati. Of course, he's going to hit a home run.
So Judge on this slate, Judge is 4th.
Okay.
I mean, he's still high. I mean, it's still 0.3, so it's still high.
Mookie Betts?
No. Mookie Betts.
So I could be like you. I asked you pre-show. I'll take you behind the curtain. Pre-show, I asked you a random question. And it's just a random trivia question, just a nonsense question. I'm like, I wonder if Blender knows this. And you went ahead and just Googled it and give me the answer. Like, what's the fun in that? Like, I can pull up the bat as well and cheat.
Well, then why don't you do it? It will save so much time.
But this is more fun. I'm not having fun because I'm wrong.
Sure? I don't think people are having fun.
I don't know. Let us know if you're having fun. Should I just be cheating here? I don't really, because they're playing along at home. I assume they get the home
getting
version.
The bat on that. The point of this segment, Dean, is a marketing tool. Because they don't have to come to me for the who do you think is going to hit a home run? It's like, no, I just look at the bat projections, which you can get here on RotoGrinders. Go click on the link in the description, get a premium subscription, get Lineup HQ, get our ownership projections, get the bat projections. And at that point, if you do that, you can probably replace me on this show. and just come on the show. And, hey, I got the projections. Play whatever you want. I mean, it's probably no different. So
we all do a blender impression, good or bad. But,
I'm trying to highlight that I don't have some magical ability to predict home runs. I just take a look at what the models.
Do you get a kickback for this sales? I didn't realize this is all like a secret.
Of course not. Of course not. I don't get a kickback.
Jordan Alvarez. Is it Jordan?
I don't
get
it.
Jordan Alvarez.
Yeah, it's Jordan Alvarez. See, you looked it up.
No, I did. I did not look it up. My hands have been here the whole time.
So Alvarez and Ohtani are tied.
I mean, if we're doing a draft, right? If we're doing a draft, the 1-1 is Aaron Judge, the homer today. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, not according to the bat.
What kind of decimal points are we talking about? Like,
well,
what's
the difference between 0.33 and 0.3?
Oh, come
on.
A
0.03 difference, Dean. That's the difference of a Whit Merrifield home run.
Yeah. Play Whit Merrifield today. Good luck with that. All right. So that's your Venom Bombs today, your official Venom Bombs. You're unleashing to the people. Your
Alvarez
official
and
Venom Bombs.
Ohtani. There you go.
They're writing it down. Oh, I didn't even think of this guy. Wow, Ohtani. Wait, he pitched yesterday. You're telling me he hits today? He does both? What? Is that even possible? It is possible.
Yeah. If you Googled you'll see that he's also a pitcher and a batter.
Yeah. And Jordan versus Griffin Canning, sure, why not? By the way, I can't do this now, but in chat, I'm taking a peek at the chat. D Fick is telling me to watch Blender's show from yesterday. When am I'm supposed to watch it right now?
While you do this show. Why not?
What did we learn yesterday, Blender? What was that referencing? Is there something specific?
I have no idea. Actually, before we talk about this, I'm going to put on El Camino during this. Right? You got to watch it. I'm just going to watch El Camino while we do the show.
You have to. If you're not going to give it your full attention, just don't even bother.
It's on Netflix, right? It's a Netflix thing. Right?
Yeah. Okay. I know you're going to be doing all this traveling. I assume you're going to be downloading stuff or watching stuff through Wi-Fi, and you're not just going to be sitting there staring at the wall for 18 hours, are you?
Maybe that's why I enjoy that.
That's psychotic behavior. Like if you go on a plane and just like stare out the window and you're not listening to music and you're not watching something, you're not reading a book, like that's a psycho. That's a psycho. I was
listening to a podcast. You missed that.
No. Listening to a podcast.
Well, that's what I did. Like my behavior doesn't change. I'm gonna be scrolling on Twitter and listening to a podcast like I would do any other day. It's just I happen to be in a different place.
Yeah. But I've seen those people before, and like immediately it's a red flag to me.
People just staring at walls.
Did you not prepare? Did you not know you were flying today? Worst case scenario, like grab a magazine that's like sitting around. But like the people that just stare at the wall for an hour, even if it's a short flight, I don't care.
On a plane, how do you stare at the wall on a plane? You're not looking at a wall. You're not facing a wall.
The hypothetical, the metaphorical.
Only the first row people, the bulkhead people, I could see staring at a wall because that's what's in front of them. But other people have to stare at the seat in front. The back of the seat in front of them would be what they're staring at.
The chat is giving me the business, by the way. That like I'm judging them for doing this. Like, it's such a poor life choice. The people
they're contemplating, they're meditating. What's wrong with that?
I mean, I'm not. That's not my wheelhouse, and that's great if you do that. If you can get in that sort of Zen mode, I feel like that's not the best environment to meditate, but I don't know. It seems it's just a wild thing. We have to put out a poll. Like, is it psychotic to get on a plane and just stare at the wall or whatever? Just sit and stare. Read do they still start to sell you stuff in the flyer? Like what's the shopping thing called? What's the
Sharper Image?
No, not the Sharper Image.
Sky Mall? The Sky Mall?
Sky Mall. Yeah. Is Sky Mall still a thing? I'm not sure if it's still a thing or not.
I think you have to put in a QR code and it comes up on your phone or something.
That might be it. Alex in chat, in the 21st century, there's no excuse to do nothing on a plane. Absolutely. It's unless you want to sleep. You want to sleep, by all means. That's doing something, though. But just not watch your iPad or listen to something, red flag. I don't want to be sitting next to that person.
See, Nerdy Tenor got it right. He just turns 90 degrees and stares at the passenger next to him. That's not creepy.
You ever like watch a weird movie on the plane and feel like everybody's judging you? It's like, oh man, like this is an odd movie for me. This is an odd choice.
No,
because
no.
Maybe it's just me. All right, let's get
what are you
back
turning
on
on like Pornhub and stuff? What are you doing?
No. Why was your brain go there? Like, why would I do that?
What would be a weird?
We live in a society.
What would be a weird? What would be so weird that you'd be like upset that like, oh, people are watching it?
It wouldn't be Requiem for a Dream. Probably not plane appropriate. I don't know. There's certain movies you probably just shouldn't watch on a plane. I don't know.
Oh, but should you watch plane movies on a plane?
Snakes on a plane would be ironic, right? How do
like,
I tell people?
What would you watch Passenger 57 on a plane? Right? Like anything about like hijacks and plane crashes.
Yeah, well, there's that scene from Airplane, of course, where they're watching the in-flight movies. The plane is crashing. Remember that? Yeah. All right, let's get back on track, Blender. We have a very important slate to discuss for sure. B-Shot wants to know, what do I do with my thummy thumbs? That's an important question.
You hit them on the like button. You hit the thummy thumbs here on YouTube.
She Squealed says you should watch Alive on a plane. That was, of course, where that soccer team from South America like flew into the Andes or one of the mountain ranges in South America, and they had to do whatever they had to do to survive. Again, probably a bad plane movie. It's the worst plane movie, basically. Watch Yellow Jackets on Showtime. All right, let's get back on this slate. There's like 7, maybe 8 pitchers I'm willing to roster. It's really pretty loaded, right? Kershaw,
and the thing is that you could pay up at pitcher and still play a Yankee stack.
Yeah, well, can you get Judge? I guess you can, but
you can. No, the first lineup that comes up for me on the bat projections are Kershaw, Castillo, and a Yankee stack. But I mean, you're playing punt plays in the 3 other spots. But you could do
IKF, Higashioka, those kind of guys.
No. Higashioka, Rizzo, Volpe, Bader, Judge.
Oh, so you're like the whatever's left is going to be nonsense. Is what you're saying.
It's going to be like Lane Thomas and Miguel Vargas and stuff just shoved in there.
So have you decided what do you think you're going to do? You're making 4 lineups, especially like single entry stuff. The Yankees are really going to condense, and
I'm looking to not play the Yankees at all.
Okay,
if the Yankees beat me, they beat me. But I mean, if you're not playing the Yankees, like there's enough pitchers that you could essentially play whoever you want. So, like, I'm looking through just from a stacks perspective. I ran 100 stacks through, and we finally got the Pirates lineup, by the way.
They are always late. Their game starts in an hour. What are they doing?
So what I have coming up stack-wise, I have the Yankees at 115 or so. Oh, okay, not that dramatic of a difference. Okay, the Yankees aren't that far and away. Okay, I thought this would be much bigger. The second highest team is the Astros, Houston, but obviously they have the second highest team total, so that does make sense. And you can play with one-off punts. You can play a 5-man Astros stack with Kershaw and Castillo with paying up twice a pitcher.
But again, are you getting Tucker and Yordan?
You're getting Yordan, maybe not Tucker. You're getting Julks instead.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's
but I'm saying if you don't play Kershaw and Castillo, you could replace one of them with one of the cheaper pitchers. If you want to play, I mean, you could play Brito, Minaya, Hill, Gray, Battenfield. I mean, all of these. I mean, dude, even Merrill Kelly's viable. And 8,300 isn't that cheap, but I mean, like, dude, you feel free to play any of these. My favorite, my quote, under-owned stack correlates with what I believe.
Wait, hold on. Do we have the buckets? Are we playing the bucket game?
Oh, no, not yet. But I just want to. I'm actually going to discuss DFS strategies, Dean.
I wanted to hear bucket. I want to play the bucket game.
We'll talk about the buckets in a second. But the stack that I believe that I'm going to play in the 121. Yeah, I'm going to play against what I believe is going to be the chalkier, cheaper pitcher on this slate. Who do you think is going to be the chalkiest? Not like absurd. He's not going to be like 50% owned or anything. But I think if people pay down at a pitcher spot, I think they're going to go to this person.
Well, what's interesting is I think you have several options.
No, there are, but I think people are going to be going to this specific one because of his past start and the team that he's playing against.
Okay, so it's either going to be Shamanaya or I don't think it's going to be Brito because it's Oak, but Brito's just like, they don't really stretch him out. He's not very good. He doesn't strike people out. I can't imagine. I've seen Rich Hill get some love. And
I don't think Rich Hill is going to be that. I think it's more likely to be Peyton Battenfield.
Rich Hill, if his fastball was a DeLorean, it would not be traveling from different times. It does not reach 88 miles per hour. I'm fairly certain.
The dude still sometimes strikes out like 9 people in 4 innings.
I mean, you can go ahead and the Rich Hill thing is like, he's not my favorite amongst all this nonsense, and he's in the bucket of pitchers I guess you can consider rostering. On the season, Rich Hill's K is 19.5%, which is unspectacular. Obviously, Colorado stinks. The ballpark's good, I suppose. His curveball is his bread and butter, and that's kind of why he stuck around for 40, 41, 42, pretty old these days, obviously. And that Colorado lineup does stink, and it feels like it stinks more so than most days. It's kind of giving it a 1 over. No Blackman. Left on left, that kind of makes sense. But it's not good. It's a bad lineup. You mentioned Battenfield. That Detroit lineup is horrendous.
Well, that's who I want to play, Dean. That's who I want to play.
Yeah, this Cabrera thing.
I want to play the Tigers.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
I am Blender. I know you can play anybody you want, but I implore you, hit the X button on Miguel Cabrera. You just can't do it in 2023.
No, you play Torkelson, of course, instead of Cabrera.
It's so sad, but they're like, stop it. Just let the guy go. I know they're paying him a bunch of money, but it's over. He got his 500 home runs. He had an awesome career. I love Cabrera. One of my favorite players in the history of baseball, but it's done. I think he's got 3 extra base hits all season long. It's so bad now. And this is the ultimate mush play, by the way. The people love the mush play. I'm mushing Cabrera. If he gets a double, I will be shocked. I think he has 3 extra base hits all season long. It's just over.
I can play the Tigers and still play Kershaw, Castillo, Ohtani, and Judge.
So you're talking 5 Tigers or 3 Tigers?
Yeah, I'm talking about 5 Tigers, Dean.
Yeah.
5-man stacks like the big boys do. The big boys. It's a big boy stack.
You got to win with class. It's not about winning. You got to do it the right way.
No, I mean, to me, the stacks that I'm looking at, are Detroit. I mean, Detroit, San Francisco, and Washington.
In single entry, you're playing Detroit?
Yeah, why not?
Well, because it's going to lose. It's a flatter
Most
payout.
of the lineups you play are going to lose. You're going to lose.
Yeah, but you make that Detroit nonsense in your 10,000 entry contest, not in the 500 people.
Well, if I'm not playing the Yankees, who am I playing? What am I doing? Tell me what team is so much dramatically better than all others on this slate with these totals, other than the Yankees and the Astros. Nothing.
I think the Giants are pretty interesting.
Okay, against Josiah Gray, I'm fine with that also.
We're not going
to get that lineup, and who the hell knows what that lineup's going to look like?
We know it's going to be. It's going to be a bunch of lefties. It's going to be a bunch of Conforto is going to be in there.
Jock's going to be in the lineup. I've never even heard of the guy.
He's not very good. Casey Schmidt came up yesterday and hit a home run in his debut. Congratulations to him, but he's a righty. But I imagine we're projecting both those guys to play for what it's worth. We're giving Sable the catching spot. Again, I'm not sure if you know this, Blender. I'm not sure if you care. You should care about this kind of thing. San Fran pinch hits more than anybody else in the league, right? At least they did last year, significantly more. I've not seen the numbers this year, but eyeballing it, I'm pretty sure they're number 1. Washington, unless they made a move in their bullpen, which I don't think they have 0 lefties. They don't prioritize winning and watch. They don't realize there's an advantageous reason to have guys.
Maybe they're handedness bigots. Maybe they have something against actual lefties. They think they're lesser human beings.
Why would they think that? That's an absurd.
They don't have any lefties. Why shouldn't you have any lefties? And it's a baseball bullpen. Why don't
they have Mackenzie Gore?
He's not a relief pitcher.
No, but I mean, like, why would you have that bias, but only for relief pitchers?
Maybe he's masquerading. Maybe he's only secretly a lefty.
What? Wait, Gore is only he can throw like 7 miles an hour faster with his right hands.
Yeah. He's disguising the fact.
You remember really Billy Wagner? Remember Billy Wagner, the closer for the Astros? Gave that historic homer. I mean, he had a great career, but he gave that historic homer to Pujols. Billy Wagner, when he was like 7, maybe 8, maybe 9 years old, he broke his arm and he figured out how to throw with his other arm and never switched back. So he threw with his wrong arm his entire career. This is a fun fact. Is it a fun fact? It's a fact.
It's a fact. It's something I could have Googled. Yes.
Well, what would you have Googled? What would you have Googled to get to that?
I don't know.
Has there ever been a pitcher that switched their arms for no particular reason?
Yeah, you can probably type. I could probably type that in, that exact phrase, and probably come up.
And it would say, "I don't understand what you're asking." It's all righties, unless they've made a change there in that Washington pen. Josiah Gray, he's been better this year because he kind of sort of had to be, especially from a home run perspective. He gave up so many homers, so much lefty power last season. Good weather in San Fran. Considering the way it typically is, I think Weather Edge likes it a little bit. I know the wind's blowing out. That ballpark typically, obviously, suppresses it. Doesn't really care for wind, but I did see, 111 games, a bump in homers at 9% in San Fran. 20-mile-per-hour winds to center field. Again, this is not Wrigley, but I like the San Francisco side, and of course Washington. Somebody's got the second worst bullpen behind Oakland. That's Washington. Washington's their bullpen is horrendous, and it's all right-handed. And I think their pinch hitting ways will be subdued today. So, I'm happy to and I like Gray. I think he's making some positive steps, and obviously there's an electric arm there, and there's a reason why this guy was once a top prospect. But you're looking for ways to get away from the Yankees. I think one of the ways to do so is the Giants, and I'm much more likely to play them in single entry as opposed to playing Detroit. Detroit just – it almost seems like you're clearly playing first or last style, right? But build the lineup.
Baez? What's wrong with Akil Baddoo? What's wrong with these people?
Baez is terrible this year.
He's starting to hit a couple of home runs.
Hold on. Let me just – Baez is cheap, and theoretically he should be good. But I was looking at his advanced metrics, and let's see if they've gotten any better since I've last checked. Hard hit percentage is not as horrendous as it was, 47%. Average exit velocity, 46%. Barrel percent, 6%.
It's called regression, Dean. It's called regression. Google that. Google the definition of regression.
I mean, and I do agree that Battenfield's not very good. So I'm fine picking on him.
But it's the combination of Battenfield's not great, and I think 20% of the field is going to play him, which I think is fine. I think if you want to play Battenfield, I think that's fine also. But if I had to choose on a slate where it's essentially the Yankees and the Astros, and then everyone else is kind of in this kind of the same bucket, there's not that dramatic differences between the third team and the 12th team or whatever. I'm going to have to just how do I find a way that when I get points, the field is getting less because they're owning the pitcher of the one that I have. If you're gonna play the Dodgers today, for instance, if you're or expensive, no one's playing Wade Miley, right? The Dodgers are there.
No, they should.
Sure, they're there, right? If you're gonna play the Mariners at their prices, who's playing Dane Dunning today? The projection of the Mariners is not dramatically enough different than the Tigers. It is better, yes, it is better, but not that much better, right? For their prices, because you're going to be playing Julio at 5,500 and Kalenic at 4,600 and Cal Raleigh at 44. So you're not going to be able to fit in Kershaw Castillo. You're not going to be able to play that type of lineup. So it's given that choice, I'm going to choose. If I'm going to choose between garbage, I'm going to choose the garbage against the pitcher that at least is going to get double-digit ownership.
But I understand the leverage perspective, but
it's the name of the game, Dean. It's the name of the game.
Yes and no. There's a whole world where Detroit is worthless and Battenfield is worthless. That's the most likely scenario.
Worthless. Dude, Dean, there's a whole world where me and you are worthless. There's a whole world.
We're right? Totally, as far as the slate, we're worthless.
The whole world. You're absolutely right.
But what I'm saying is that and I'm sure you've heard people say this before. It's well, if everybody's rostering this guy, just stack against him, and there you go. If he blows up,
you can,
know
but
what?
they have
He
to
can
score,
give up 4
still have to
runs.
score enough.
He can give up 4 runs in 5 innings, and he's worthless. And the other team, it's no homers against them, and they're worthless, and everybody's worthless. And it's the whole game.
You can say that about Dean. You can say that about anyone, right?
I'm just like, a lot of people think in terms of like the black and white, this or that, and it's either like this is going to happen or that's going to happen.
Yeah, but there's a much bigger
Dean.
There's a much bigger difference between Peyton Battenfield and Clayton Kershaw. Like if you said, "Oh, everyone's playing Kershaw, I'm going to play the Brewers righties against him," like I'm perfectly fine with that. Just understand that on a 9-game slate, if you're going to play a 5-man Brewers stack, it's not. Well, if Kershaw gets blown up, it's like, well, is he going to get blown up for 8 to 10 runs? If your answer is,
I'd argue Milwaukee stack's got a better chance of getting there than Detroit because you actually have like competent hitters there. Like, I know Kershaw is spectacular.
You slandered Luke Voigt earlier today.
Well, Contreras, Adames, right?
Owen Miller is leading off. Owen Miller. Oh, you're telling me that Owen Miller is dramatically better than Zach McKinstry?
No, well, no, but if we're gonna do a draft, right? We're gonna only pick players from Detroit and Milwaukee. Who's the number 1 pick?
Miggy.
No, what year is this draft taking place?
I want to pick Andy Ibanez first.
You don't even know the guy's name. You can't even. Why is it Ibanez?
What's wrong with Andy Ibanez?
It's got to be a Banez. How is it Ibanez?
Ibanez.
Ibanez.
Ibanez, like the guitar. Isn't that the guitar?
I don't know what you're talking about. There's a guitar.
You ever heard of Ibanez guitars? Right? Isn't that the name of a guitar? Yes, that's the name of a guitar.
I know Les Paul.
Ibanez, or is the guitar technically Ibanez also? Okay, whatever.
It's probably Ibanez. Ibanez.
Oh, any guitar. I was in a band. Any guitarist called it Ibanez. The guitar is an Ibanez.
Pronounced it for years.
So back me up in the chat. It's called an Ibanez guitar.
Forget the chat's on probation right now because somebody in chat just told me that was not Billy Wagner, and it was Billy Wagner. I dropped the story on him.
So we can't even trust the chat.
Phil Hogan. Phil Hogan says that wasn't Billy Wagner.
Dean, is El Camino even a thing? Am I being punked?
No, it's absolutely a thing, and it's outrageous.
You're telling me that there's this movie that came out after Breaking Bad that I've never heard of, right? Maybe.
Jeez. It's for sure a thing, and you should absolutely watch that. Although,
am I on Earth too? Am I on Earth? Is this like a dimension change? Is this like the one thing that changed? Like I've shifted dimensions, and the only difference between the universe that I came from is that there was a movie made, the postscript of Breaking Bad. That's the only difference between the universes.
Yeah, I mean, it's an upgrade.
And the name of the guitars is the Ibanez guitars, right? We pronounce Ibanez differently. That's it. That's the only difference.
There are some questions in chat. I'm happy to field those. 15 minutes until the crunch time crew comes in, give or take. You got TJ Zwarych, the greatest DFS player in all of Saskatoon, Canada. You can't find anybody better. I challenge you, Blender. You're going to be up in that. Well, I guess Alaska is much further away. It's in my brain, I think cold, but it's pretty far away. You don't know anybody better though than Saskatchewan, Canada, right?
Yeah,
that's it. He's number 1. He's the 1-1.
There are probably wrestlers from there that I know.
Jericho's Canadian. I know that.
Yeah, right? But he's from Winnipeg.
Yeah, well, that's Bret Hart was from Montreal? Calgary.
Right, and Edge is from Toronto.
Well, Bret Hart famously had the incident, the screw job, Montreal screw job. That's what I was thinking
from Montreal.
That's what I was thinking of, though.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are from Montreal.
Well, there you go. Hotbed.
I know where people are from.
Wait, Miggy is 750 to homer. That is ridiculous. You can't. That is the worst odds. I cannot imagine. You just want to throw your money away today? Bet on Miguel Cabrera to homer. And we're still in 2023. He's not homered this season. He's not tripled. That's not happening ever unless like outfielders collide.
Miggy's home run projection, Dean, is 0.08.
I will lay those odds.
It's still a bad price, even if you want to convert like 8% into whatever. I mean, it's still talking about 12.5 to 1.
We have a legitimate question here in the chat. GR Sauce wants to know, Lineup HQ is setting max players per team to 3. Is that the same as creating a group of a team to only use 3?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't do max player for all the teams at 3. You're never going to get 5-man stacks, but you can go on the team page, right? If you go to build rules players per team, like if there's a stack that you only want don't want 5 players from, you could just set like Oakland. I could set for max players 1. And then I don't have to worry about changing like how much percentage of Oakland stacks, because I've already told Lineup HQ I only want max of 1 Oakland player per lineup at most. So yes, so you would, but you wouldn't do that for the teams globally, because then you'd never get 5-man stack. If you said maximum players per any team is 3, you're never going to get that. And also you have to realize that the pitchers count as well. So that's why using the players per team page for baseball is not necessarily the greatest, unless you're specifically doing it to eliminate 5-man stacks. So you do, like, if you're not playing Kyle Muller, right, then you could do Oakland 1, right, because then you don't have to worry about the pitcher also in the line. But yes, it is a way to do something like that. It's easier than using groups, unless there's some specific combination of players that you do not want together. Or you want together. You want to make it a conditional player. Like all my Judge lineups need to have Kyle Higashioka catcher or something, or for some odd reason.
You get Higashioka right, and you butcher Ibanez.
Well, Higashioka. You say the name, you say the letters as the word as it goes. Higashioka. And I do that. I do that for that guy also. Ibanez. Look, Ibanez.
I just went to the official Detroit Tigers team, and like there's an actual audio clip. You can hear Andy Ibanez say his name, or somebody say the name, and it's Andy. Remember the hitter for the Philadelphia many years ago, Raul Ibanez. I don't know if they're related or not. I have no idea, but same exact spelling, same pronunciation. Remember Raul Ibanez?
Know how to play the guitar?
Most people don't. I wish I did. Could you play guitar, or you just sing?
I could barely sing, but I mean, I could yell. I could play power chords. That's about it.
That's like Green Day, basically, right?
Right. I could put my fingers in the spots and move my thing up, like. But if I have to move my fingers in any way, I'm done.
Achilles wants to know. This is specific for you, Blender, not me. I will have no say in this. DK Cash. I know you like 1v1 DK Cash questions.
Cash? What are you asking? Yeah. Play the optimal lineup.
This is important, Blender. No, we'll see what the projections say. Fine. Miguel Cabrera or Melky Cabrera, the Milkman.
Is Melky Cabrera? He's not even in baseball anymore, right?
He might be playing like in Asia or something. I have no idea.
Melky
he's got to be like 40, right? No, he's got to be. He's done.
He's 38 years old.
Oh, maybe he's still playing somewhere. I don't know.
Where's he
Julio
playing?
Franco played baseball until he was like 55 or something. I don't know if he's still smacking baseballs in like the batting cage.
Julio Franco, his current team is the Syracuse Mets.
Oh, so he's like in AAA or something?
That's what it seems like. AAA.
He still
That's what it says on internet, but the internet, who knows?
He's made like millions upon, like, he's still living the dream. Like, good for him. He just doesn't want to hang it up, right?
Right. They're not related. And also, Mickey Cabrera is not related to Melky Cabrera.
Well, yeah, it's a popular last name.
Melky Cabrera is only 2 years younger than Mickey.
They're both going to get 0 points. So, like, I don't know if you can find Melky. If Melky's cheaper.
Miguel Cabrera is available to get points. Melky, don't roster Melky Cabrera today. That's my hot take. That's my lock of the day. Melky Cabrera, 0 points. Go lock that in.
Alex says power chords aren't chords. I can't speak to that. I don't really know.
Or whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Is that just a term? I don't know. Is that just semantics?
I don't even know. I don't know how to read music. Who cares?
Oh, Rowdy Piper's from Saskatoon. Remember him?
He's from Saskatoon?
Yeah, according to TJ. There's a statue of him at the town square.
Oh, you're right. He's from Saskatoon. You're right. Roderick George Toombs, known as Roddy.
They live.
I mean, he didn't do much work in that necessarily region. He was more known for like West Pacific Northwest stuff before he moved to different territories.
So what have we learned so far as this slate? About 10 minutes.
Nothing. We never learn anything on this show.
I thought this was where we were supposed to learn something. I was told earlier today.
Okay. We learned a lot then. I'm sorry. We learned a lot then.
We learned El Camino is in the world that exists. Right. You learned that, at least. One of us did. Trey Lyles from Saskatoon. There you go. Shout out Trey Lyles. All right. Yeah. We still have
I
10
mean,
minutes
if
until we
you're
end
going to
it up.
build, here's the chalk lineup. If you're going to build a line, this is the lineup that you're trying to avoid. Okay?
Yeah.
Castillo plus Kershaw plus 5 Yankees. And in my opinion, I think I may be much more inclined to play Yordan Alvarez as a one-off or Shohei Ohtani as a one-off than Aaron Judge as a one-off. Because if Judge is doing well, it's most likely the Yankees are doing well, which means, playing a 30% owned one-off Aaron Judge, not my cup of tea.
What do we have for ownership for Judge? Is he really considered to be 30%? That's pretty. That's kind of the threshold for
He's
hitters.
going to be the high. He's going to be the highest owned batter.
He's expensive though. Like it's not like you just throw in your lineup.
You can fit any of these guys in. You can do whatever you want. Come on.
Well, we live in the world with salary cap, right? Right, Blunder? You're aware of this, yes? Salary cap
I come from a universe where the salary cap doesn't exist. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, then
that's the third thing, right? The third El Camino, Andy Ibanez, my Earth 3 or whatever, our atmosphere, no salary cap. There's none. There's no. I go outside, I could breathe. It's like, oh, why is it so much easier to breathe? It's like, no salary.
Mark says Rowdy Piper not from Scotland. Yeah, I guess that was just a gimmick, right? Was he actually Scottish? He pretended to be Scottish, right? That was his whole. So. He had the kilt and the bagpipes.
I don't know.
You don't remember Rowdy Piper with the?
I know, but I was 4 years old when he was actually popular. That's like history.
You should know, like
you don't remember Dwight D. Eisenhower, Dean? I mean, it's the same.
He was the president.
I know he was president, but I was not like I was alive.
Alan's asking about the Dodgers ownership. I like the Dodgers too. Locked in for 9. Miley's okay, I guess, but you know what's interesting about Miley? I was actually looking at him before the show. He is a big regression monster candidate. Okay. Did you know that Wade Miley is ERA? I mean, you probably didn't. His ERA is 2.31. Like he's got a 2.31 ERA, Wade Miley.
Right, but his ERA is probably double that.
It's more than double that. It's 4.89. His homer to fly ball is 0.51 because he's got a 4% homer to fly ball. Homer to 9 is 0.51. Homer to fly ball is 4%. His BABIP, batting average on balls in play, is 264. He's been crazy lucky. Not walking a lot of people, but also not striking out a lot of people.
We've been talking about that for Wade Miley for years. And then you stack against him. He gives up 3 runs on 5 hits, and that's it. I mean, like that's the Wade Miley experience. Like this guy should be getting blown up, and he never does.
I like the Dodgers, by the way, as one of the pivots away from the Yankees. I'm probably going to have just less Yankees in my single entry. I don't think I'm going to go 5. I might have them as my mini stack, my 3 or something like that. I don't think I'm going to go 0, but I'm making several lineups tonight. We currently have Judge at 20% ownership, but we know how that stuff condenses in single entry, 3 entry max stuff. Basically, a lot of people just kind of unleash their cash lineups in there, like a cash game lineup on steroids, that kind of thing. And I think I love the idea, like your thought process of play Detroit in single entry, just until you say Detroit, but being different. I just think Detroit, if you're going to power rank all these teams, Detroit's 16, right?
No, of course not.
Are you sure?
Projection versus salary difference between all these other teams other than the Yankees and the Astros is not dramatically different. It's not as dramatic.
But if we're power ranking, how many teams is Detroit better than? On paper,
probably half the teams on the slate, but not by much. Those teams are not by much.
I would play Arizona.
I'm making. I'm not saying that they're the third best team on the slate. I'm just saying that we have we have the Yankees on a tier by itself. Then we have the Astros on a tier by itself. And then we have this bucket of 12 teams, and the Tigers are one of them, right? How you order those 12 teams, whatever way you want, but the differences between the 12 teams in that bucket are not as dramatic that it's well, one's going to be 5% owned and one's going to be 1%. Dude, then I'll play the 1% owned. I mean,
I got the Dodgers and Giants. The Detroit bucket is not touching my San Francisco bucket. They're not. I want that bucket in the closet. I don't want it mushing.
Dodgers are in that bucket. Dodgers. The Angels are in that bucket. The Marlins are in that bucket.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I guess
even the Pirates. Maybe. You could play the Pirates in that bucket. That bucket's there also.
Toronto and Philadelphia. It's 2 good pitchers, and there's a collection of good hitters. It's just interesting. I think this game's gonna be mostly ignored. It's the pitchers. they're both good, but the offenses are kind of tough. You know, the hitters are good. We'll see what Schwarber is going to play or not. But, you know, the pitchers are kind of tough. That's just an interesting game. I think if you're running MME stuff, what would you do with Toronto versus Philadelphia? Because I think it gets mostly ignored, and maybe it should be.
I think I'd much rather play the Phillies against Gausman than the Blue Jays against Wheeler. But I mean, they're still like these teams are just overpriced. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, look at the Phillies. Stott is 4,500, Turner's 56, Harper 56, Castellanos 47, Marsh is 43, Real Muto's 49. It's like the only way that you can play a Philly stack is essentially if you don't play either, like you don't pay up a pitcher twice. And I don't think that's the proper construction. I think you're going to be playing one of the higher priced pitchers. You may be pairing them with a lower priced pitcher, but I don't think you're playing two lower priced pitchers together.
Castillo versus Kershaw.
One of these higher priced pitchers is going to put up enough points that you're going to probably need them.
Castillo versus Kershaw. You have a lean?
I mean, according to the projections, it would be Castillo.
Yeah.
There's no lean. I'm just looking. I'll reload the back projections, but the back.
They might have updated that Milwaukee lineup's pretty rough, and they've been, again, if you care about them versus lefties, they've been terrible versus lefties. It's mostly all righties, but they're bad righties mostly, and there's a ton of Ks. So
now Castillo, for 300 less, actually projects for 2 points higher median than Kershaw. If I had to choose, I go with the projections. I go with Castillo over Kershaw, but I think, I mean, if you no, I want to play the other guy. I think I think they're both clearly the two best pitchers on the slate.
What about double barreling them? I know you're talking about going down.
Well, that's what I'm probably doing, right?
Yeah.
I'm double barreling and not playing any Yankees, so I think I'm fine. And if I pay down at pitcher, probably maybe playing Rich Hill.
GR Saw says, what about playing a 5-man Oakland? Chalk pitchers, one off, a Judge. Let's see, a Judge one off with 5 players for Oakland. By the way, Oakland does their pinch hit thing too. Just so Oakland pinch hits guys like an annoying amount. Just throwing it out there. Like Aguilar's not starting. But he's a guy that can jump in this game and spell like Noda. Just a thought.
I don't have Oakland in that middle bucket. They're in the bottom bucket.
I would take Oakland before I take Detroit. How about that?
No, I'll take Detroit way over Oakland.
Would you want to make a little jelly bean bet on who scores more
runs?
I don't.
Am I predicting outcomes? I'm not predicting outcomes.
You just said Detroit's distinctly better.
If I had to choose what I'm playing in DFS in my lineup, yes. Not who's going to do better on the slate.
They have a higher projected total. I'm giving you an advantage. I'm laying you 0.15 runs.
So what are we betting? We're betting jelly. What's the purpose?
I don't know. Just for fun. Have a little bit of fun, Wonder. Do you not like fun?
No, I hate fun.
What's you and Tim would get along spectacularly.
Fun? What's so fun? I mean, it's like, oh, okay. So whoever does better, Detroit or Oakland, what happens? Nothing.
Well, no, we would make a wager on this. It's whoever.
What?
American dollars. Do you have any? You have some. I'm sure you have plenty. You're going on a trip to Alaska.
Why are we doing it? Of who? What's the wager? Who's going to score more runs?
Sure. I don't know. What would the bet be?
I don't know. I mean, I have a higher implied team total, so technically,
I'm doing you the favor.
So what do you want?
Like a plus 110.
I don't want to have to deal with then you having to send me money via PayPal when you lose.
You don't want to deal with that? Like that's a big hassle?
No, we're supposed to be friends and co-hosts and stuff. I'm taking bets on things that I don't even care about.
That doesn't matter. I'll bet on anything just because. Like, live a little bit, man. Have a little bit of fun. But, I mean, I'm not talking like thousands of dollars, just enough to make it interesting. You know.
Well, that's the only way that'll make it interesting. Then once you start wagering that amount, I'm like, I don't know why the hell I'm even doing that. I'm a nit. I'm not going to just make bets with co-hosts for no reason.
Why not?
Why not? Because I'm not a degenerate, Dean. I'm not. You're too used to doing shows with Grant.
I bet on the sex of Grant's child. To be fair, he instigated that one. He says he basically forced me to take it. And I also bet on his delivery date.
You bet on it? Wouldn't he have much more insider information of knowing what that would be?
Well, no, it was on the up and up. Like it was the honor system, and I actually won that bet, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't like he was trapping me.
Right.
Just getting that $100 out of me. I gotcha. I knew all along.
Just like that Taylor Swift lyric question. If you bet me, I bet you don't know this lyric. And it's like, I'm just going to Google it, and then I'm going to win the bet.
This show is officially, I would say it's off the rails, but I don't know if it was this ever on the rails? It was on the rails there's probably a good 20 minutes in there someplace. If nothing else. I hear TJ furiously typing. TJ, are you typing in chat? Are you typing an email? What's going on?
Typing in chat, Spidey Bomb number 2, because we just hit 75 likes. So the first one was Alex Bregman, and the second one was for our Oakland A's, Dean. Brent Rooker is not the one out of the park today.
Yeah. Hey, Dave Potts is here as well. Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood, as well as Cheap Mineralogist Kevin Roth. Dave, what's the deal with this Miguel Cabrera thing? We got to stop, right? He's got to stop playing. It's just not. It's not.
He should have rode off on the same horse as Bumgarner. Like they really should have just had like a day where they just parade these guys around like thanks for the memories and just let them go. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been a spectacular career, and I don't mean to tell the guy when he's done, but
I mean, and that's the problem. I mean, I was proud of Arizona for finally sending Bumgarner. Like the Detroit Tigers can't tell Miguel Cabrera to stop playing. I mean, he's Miguel Cabrera, and they're the Tigers. So, I mean, what choice do they have? I guess.
Is there nobody in the minors? I know all their prospects have stunk so far, but is there nobody else lurking that just?
It's not. It's not a matter of they can't replace him. It's really just I think it's really just they're not going to tell someone they're not winning a game anyway. I bet they sell a few more tickets because he's still on the team than if they called up someone that no one's ever heard of still. A few more tickets. They sell 14 instead of 13.
Did you see the Oakland A's? Speaking of the Oakland A's, I don't know if you saw this, Dave, or not. If you guys saw this, the Oakland A's can't sell tickets. Obviously, they're the worst kept secret. They're going to be going to Vegas at some point. They put together a ticket package. You get a T-shirt as well, presumably an Oakland A's T-shirt. I don't know if that increases the value or decreases it. Whatever. You get 37 tickets. I don't know where they got the number 37, but 37 tickets, Dave. 37 tickets, 37 games you can go to the Oakland Athletics play baseball. What is the going value? What's the street value? How much can I get? 37 tickets to the Oakland Athletics, 37 individual games. Well, what do you think? What's the price point here?
And a T-shirt, you say?
And a T-shirt. I presume
I'm going to say
T-shirt.
If the T-shirt is $12 and then you get 37 tickets, I'll go $51.
It's pretty close. It is wildly close to that number.
It's 99 American dollars. 99 American dollars.
Truly incredible. Like when you told me that, it blew my mind. That is just absolutely ridiculous.
It's really, that's fantastic.
The Savannah Bananas, one ticket to the Savannah Bananas goes for $100 in the resale market.
Oh, it's like $500. Dean, it's like
that much?
$500. Yeah, I couldn't go. I couldn't afford it.
That's just outrageous.
There's no one that would choose an A's game over a Bananas game. I mean, Brent Rooker's mom would choose the Bananas game. I mean, this is not even a conversation here.
Who are the Bananas version of the Washington Generals? Who do they play against? Do we know? TJ, what's just threw you off?
JJ Redick has interviewed for the Toronto Raptors coaching job, according to Woj.
I did see that. Yeah, that is interesting. Selfishly, I just want him to be in the media because actually he's a pretty sharp talking head. But good for him if he gets the job there. Blender, anything else for the boys before we step aside and make way for crunch time? We had a fun time. Dave, let me ask you this before we go. You got to stack one of these two teams, right? And
okay.
You have to stack one of these two. Detroit or Oakland?
Detroit.
Whoa! Do you X out Cabrera? There's no way you're playing Cabrera, right? X?
Oh, no. You're not playing Cabrera, but you are playing Torkelson.
Okay. All right.
But to be fair, I love both of those stacks. I think my three favorite stacks on the slate are Detroit, Oakland, and Washington.
Wow. Okay.
See, I'm not the crazy person on the early show, right?
Well, I mean, by default, TJ actually, I think he likes Oakland, so you guys are gonna fight. TJ's gonna play a role of Cardi. you guys are going to have at it. It's going to be a lot of fun for sure.
I'm pretty sure that math doesn't say you have to play the A's.
Canadian math, though. You never know what TJ is going to bust out on you. Myself and Blender, we were going to step aside the FanDuel sponsor Crunch Time with
as long
Chief
as it's
Meteorologist
not about
Kevin Roth.
Whit Merrifield, I'm not going to be inflating any stats, Dean.
But what is Miguel Cabrera's WAR? That's what I want to know. All right.
Not as good as Whit Merrifield's.
Definitely not. Roth, take it away. Get us out of here.
Good show. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. It is Crunch Time. Thank you, Dino and crew. This is the show sponsored by FanDuel, the same show where we also bring in two of the sharpest minds in the biz. We got one, Mr. Dave Pazza, a.k.a. Cheeseisgood. What up, Cheese?
Not a lot, man. These early days, it's like I basically write 2 musings, have 2 crunch times, and still got to have lunch, ice cream, dinner, nap.
Yeah.
So it's all good because you are here and TJ is here. Saw Guardians of the Galaxy last night, so all is going well.
Well, let's pause it right there. Did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, that's I don't love all the Marvel movies, but I love all the Guardians of the Galaxies for sure.
Yeah, it's a good series. Agreed with the weird timing. I was right in the middle of my delicious, very gourmet peanut butter and jelly taco, and then I was like, I gotta be on a show. It interrupted my taco time. I didn't even get to fully mix my protein shake, so I'll be sipping my.
I saw you stirring it up there. Good.
It's very chunky. Like you should see look how. I mean, that doesn't look good, right?
It does not.
It is not blended properly. It's pretty rough. I'm going to give it some good stir and see if we can get some of those chunks out. And we're going to walk the people through the slate. TJ does not approve of that protein shake. What's up, TJ?
Oh, that's the good stuff right there.
If you got to chew it, that's how you know you got enough protein. You got.
That's making me miss my gym days right there. Ripping down the chunks in the locker room afterwards. Doing pretty well. Ready. I love me some day baseball. I didn't have to write the musings right early in the morning, and so I got to sleep in until GrindersLive started, and then make my way through my pool. I like this slate. It's pretty fun. We've already given out 2 Spidey bombs, Alex Bregman and Brent Rooker. We're only 11 likes away from Spidey bomb number 3. I got some spicy ones coming. I'm excited about it.
Oh, spicy Spidey bomb. We approve of that. I approve of this weather slate because I don't think we're going to have any issues. And I know we're not going to have any issues on the early slate. And then I think even for the late slate, things look pretty good. So no real weather concerns to talk about. I'm kind of seeing if there's anything super notable weather-wise on this morning slate. I'm going to go with not really. So pretend weather isn't a thing. And I think that will behoove you. Cheese, you want to kind of walk us through what we're doing here?
Yeah, so for the early slate, we're mostly going to talk DK. FanDuel has a 4-game slate, and their FanDuel's bigger slate is the evening slate, which we're going to talk about mostly in the later crunch time. Mm-hmm. But DK's main slate is 9 games on the early slate, so just like a hugely different kind of day. So for the most part, that looks terrible, Kevin.
It's so bad.
I'm looking at DK on the early slate, and I'm looking at FanDuel on the late slate. So I will talk about the FanDuel plays, but this is a much bigger, more interesting slate on the DK side.
Okay, well, I'm glad you pointed that out. We should add, because this show is sponsored by FanDuel, that you should make sure you sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you are in a legal sports betting state, new users get the fantastic bonus offer. You bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions do apply. That is only happening on our sponsor site, FanDuel. So make sure you're taking advantage of that bonus money, man. Whew. Good stuff. Rad Dad Fanny Pack says, get a shaker. It's 2023. That's just one more thing you got to put in the washing machine. You got to wash the shakers. This is all.
I don't know if you put it in the washing machine. I don't know that much about shakers, to be fair.
I wouldn't recommend the washing machine, but it's just one more thing you got to wash. And I got 2 kids. I got too much to wash already.
Roth, have you ever just left one of those and forgotten to wash it?
Oh, it's the grossest.
It's quite literally the world's worst smell.
Yeah, and like the grossest science experiment in human history. Anyways, this is a quick aside. I use all disposable things in my life. What was I eating my peanut butter and jelly taco on? A paper plate.
Yeah.
Is that does that make me a terrible human? Because I'm just trying to survive, man.
I mean, the Earth will be fine in your lifetime, so I don't see how it's your fault.
That's horrible. All right, let's dive into this slate a little bit. Cheese, you mentioned you kind of focusing on DK, but let's talk about some pitchers here.
Yeah. So the big, huge difference is on DK, it is a slate with 5 aces, like 5 really great pitchers. But on FanDuel, there's only one of them. So Clayton Kershaw is the very clear lone top option on FanDuel. But on DK, we're looking at Kershaw, Castillo as the chalk, and then Wheeler, Gausman, and Javier as 3 more really good pitchers. Like that's 5 aces, and they're all very good. I think because of the matchups, Castillo and Kershaw are going to be probably more than double the ownership of the other 3, which for that reason alone, you should consider the other 3. The biggest question mark of that group for me is Kevin Gausman. He, in some ways, has looked absolutely amazing and fantastic this year, like best pitcher in the league almost type of strikeouts and walks, and yet he's also been shellacked a couple of times, and like the velocity that's like jumping all over the place at kind of a worrisome level. So I don't know, and I've got him 5th on my list and basically just a leftover because I just don't know. And we don't need to play him because there's 5 aces. Below the 5 aces, there's a mid-tier that basically, like I'm not playing Eduardo Rodriguez and Merrill Kelly. It's just kind of weird pricing for who they are, though it's viable if you really want to. I think the first place where we start to see some ownership is Rich Hill at 7,300. But then even more, the next tier down where you have Josiah Gray, Peyton Battenfield, Sean Manaea, and Johnny Brito. Jahony Brito. They all have good matchups and they're cheap. I think that Battenfield is going to be the chalk because he checks off the 3 key boxes, which are he's right-handed, he's facing the Tigers, and he is currently alive. Put those 3 things together, and you're going to be chalky. Personally, I'm playing Josiah Gray ahead of Battenfield, and I'm even playing Rich Hill ahead of him because he looked a little better last week, but he is almost certainly not a good major league pitcher. Mm-hmm. So yes, I'm playing him because he's facing the Tigers, but I really don't love it. I want as much Castillo Kershaw as possible, which is, again, that's the chalk. But their matchups are just good and they're good pitchers. So that's where I'm going for the most part.
Okay. We did get this question from Achilles. He says, the bat says to play Rich Hill on FanDuel. Am I going to hell if I don't play him?
Yeah. And you have no chance to win if math says that you have to.
Yeah.
So
So you better do it or you will lose.
But to be fair, Rich Hill would be my favorite non-Kershaw pitcher on FanDuel. There's somebody leaf blowing like right outside my window. I don't know.
Is that what that is? Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was
if they're getting right up in here.
Yeah, it happens. Okay, TJ, your thoughts here, pitcher-wise?
Yeah, so I too am getting as much Kershaw and Castillo as physically possible today. My next, I'm getting both Gausman and Zach Wheeler at about the 15% range, and then Christian Javier at about 10%. All of these cheap guys like Battenfield, Brito, Manaea, I don't have more than 5% to any of them. Same with even guys like Rich Hill and Eduardo Cabrera, Merrill Kelly. I'm still in the 5 to 10% range of all of them. The only other guy outside of the aces that I'm getting to in any type of large amounts today is Josiah Gray. I actually have Gray in about 30% of my lineups today, just because I think he's got the highest upside by a fairly large margin of all those cheap guys.
Mm-hmm. Okay. King of Smack says, I think you can fade Gausman, Wheeler, Kershaw, and Javier. Castillo is the best option, 10K, then pay down to SB2, get some Yankee bats, a couple one-offs. That's not crazy, right? That's not a crazy option, but.
Well, no, I mean, Castillo's the chalk, and the cheap pitchers will be fairly chalky. So, like Castillo Kershaw is the number 1 chalk combo. The number 2 chalk combo is Castillo plus one of the cheaper guys. So I mean, it's more than viable. That's popular.
Okay. Very good. Let's talk about some of the stacks, some of the bats. And TJ, do you want to lead us off with that convo?
Let's do it. So the Yankees are the top by a very large margin. They're facing
6 implied run total.
Yeah, and they're facing a terrible pitcher with a historically bad bullpen. They're the top stack on the board by a lot, and they're going to be chalky. They are in a quarter of my lineups as a full stack right now. And so I'm actually trying to get a little bit over the field on the Yankee chalk. And second for me is going to be Houston. And so Houston actually is giving us Spidey Bomb number 3, because we've reached 100 likes. And there's just some crazy odds on some of these Houston players today. The reason we liked Alex Bregman is because you could find better than plus 500 odds for him, plus 550 over on Caesars. If you stay on Caesars, you can find Jeremy Pena for plus 700 to hit a home run today. And so Jeremy Pena is Spidey Bomb number 3. We got 2 Houston players and an Oakland player so far. Let's get 125 likes for our fourth Spidey Bomb. But there's actually only 3 stacks I have over 10% today, and it's New York, it's Houston, and it's Seattle. After that, I'm just kind of spreading out. I'm trying to get to a decent amount of Oakland, Washington, Detroit, Arizona, and then a few of these high upside teams and tougher matchups like the Angels, the Blue Jays, Philly, and the Dodgers as well. That's kind of the main place I'm going today. Miami, Pittsburgh, and San Fran are the 3 teams that I kind of look at and go, wow, I don't mind these offenses today, but I'm really not getting much of them, and I wish I was getting more. So those are the kind of the 3 teams that I'd be worried about being most underweight on. And then the Yankees, Houston, and Seattle are going to be my 3 top teams.
Very good. All right, Cheese, it sounds to me like it's Yankees and then like a whole bunch of pretty viable options. What
it's Yankees, then Astros, then a whole bunch of viable options.
Oh, gotcha.
The Yankees are the mega chalk, and Astros will be chalk, like secondary chalk, but especially since the lineup's not out yet, they'll be far lower on than the Yankees. But like those are the very 2 obvious top offenses, the most popular offenses, and kind of no reason not to love them. My favorite pivots are the super cheap teams. Washington is my favorite, and then Detroit and Oakland. But then after that, pretty much every team on the slate is somewhat viable. But I do have a pretty big gap after the Yankees and Astros.
Wasn't Detroit the team that we were like, oh, do we have a pitcher? Is he right-handed? Is he playing Detroit? And is he alive? Then
right.
We want him.
But he's barely alive. Like I'm pretty sure that like Battenfield really profiles to be a very bad pitcher at this point.
His name's not Pitching Field, Roth.
Yeah,
that is correct.
There you go. Very good. Okay, any other names you want to throw out? Teams you want to throw out, Cheese?
No.
Okay, then let's dive into a little around the horn, little position by position talk. We'll start at the old catcher spot, and Cheese, you can take it away.
So ye old catcher spot is Will Smith. The Dodgers in general are kind of a funny team, like funny, haha. Wade Miley is good enough that it's like stacking the Dodgers is not thrilling. But Will Smith is one of a couple of really good spend ups individually. Assuming Cal Raleigh is in the lineup, he's the next best catcher. And then you're mostly going cheap. I like Keibert Ruiz. Higashioka will probably be the chalk of cheap guys. And then you're just kind of throwing other random stuff in stacks.
TJ, any other names to add?
No, Higashioka is the kind of main one that I'm going with. Cal Raleigh is going to be my second favorite today. I'm getting an uncomfortable amount of Martin Maldonado because he's currently the guy we're projecting in Houston lineups. But if that ends up being Diaz or something like that, then I'll just make that pivot. Outside of that, it's just guys that I'm playing in stacks. Like I like Will Smith today, but I'm struggling to get up there. And so Higashioka and Raleigh are going to be my main 2.
Okay, first base.
Shohei Ohtani is a guy I'd love to pay up for here in tournaments if I can. Outside of him, I'm getting Yankees, LeMahieu and Rizzo. Christian Walker is another guy that I'm very interested in getting to today as a one-off or part of my Arizona stacks. And then Ryan Noda and Spencer Torkelson down cheap are 2 guys that I'm getting to a fair amount as well.
Cheese first.
Don't love the high end. Really, I don't love the high end at many positions outside of the outfield. So I'm saving more at first base. Joey Meneses is my favorite. Noda and Torkelson, like TJ mentioned, would be next. I do like Christian Walker, pretty good bit. He's probably my favorite non-Ohtani spend up. And the rest is mostly just in stacks.
Okay, second base.
Gleyber Torres will maybe be the most popular player on the slate. Certainly on FanDuel, he will be. On DK, it's basically him or spend up a little more for bets, or you're kind of chasing salary with like Miguel Vargas, probably the chalky cheap option. And guys like, McKinstry, if Michael Chavez is in the lineup, there's a whole bunch of sure they're fine as punts. But this is really this is your typical not great second base day where if you can't get Torres or Betts, you may as well just put something in a stack.
Okay. TJ?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Torres is my highest owned player today, and then my second highest owned second baseman is going to be Zach McKinstry. I like going nice and cheap here, and McKinstry and Jordan Diaz, who just popped 3 homers for the A's yesterday, are my 2 favorite ways of going cheap, as well as Miguel Vargas. Those 3 cheapies, Betts and Torres, the only ones I have over 10% today. Everybody else is just a guy that I'm including in the stack.
Third base.
So I mentioned LeMahieu at first. I'm probably actually getting him more at third today than I am over at first because he's eligible for both of these over on DraftKings. Chris Taylor for the Dodgers is another guy that I'm getting here, batting cleanup. Alex Bregman, a Spidey bomb, is somebody that I want to be getting to as much as possible today. And for the most part outside of that, it's just guys in stacks. My next favorites are probably Suarez and Rojas, but I'm not actively targeting them.
Cheese?
Yeah, Bregman is far and away my favorite and almost certainly everybody's favorite third baseman. The guy that is, I think nobody's going to play is Jose Ramirez, which just that information alone is enough to make me want to play him.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I mean, he's not a great option at almost $6,000. But
while you're on Jose Ramirez, I did want to bring up, even though I didn't choose him for a Spidey bomb, that you can get Jose Ramirez at plus 560 to hit a home run on our sponsor FanDuel.
Noteworthy.
That's a good number.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Bregman, good chalk. Ramirez, good sneaky spend up pivot. Chris Taylor, and then just kind of, it's another position. It's like until we get to the outfield, there's really just not that much to love anywhere, which is leading to a lot of infield stacking for me.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the shortstop.
Much like with Bregman at third, like Pena won't be as popular because I think more people will play Volpe in Yankee stacks ahead of Pena in Astro stacks. But as a one-off, I prefer Pena ahead of Volpe. Javi Baez, my favorite Detroit bat. Chris Taylor, who we mentioned at third, you can play here. I do think at some point, when you look at how sort of thin the top end is at all these positions, at some point we need to start playing some of these Blue Jays. Like you can play Vlad, Chapman, and Bichette at like 1% ownership because they're facing a good pitcher. And I do think all these guys are worth sprinkling in.
I got about 5% of each of them, and I'm very excited about that. And Bichette is another one I got 6% of today, which isn't a lot, but it's going to be at least double the field on him. So That's something I like quite a bit for tournaments as well. Volpe is the top guy. You can play Taylor in here as well. Pena obviously is somebody else that I love in this spot. I'm getting a little bias as well, and I also am using Ezekiel Tovar as a one-off for Colorado since he's batting second for them today, and he's 2,500 on DraftKings.
All right, take me to the outfield, TJ.
So like Cheese said, this is a wildly, wildly strong position today. You got the Yankees and you got Houston with Aaron Judge, Alvarez, and Tucker kind of being like the 3 guys that I'm trying to target the most here by far. Harrison Bader, I'm getting to a ton. Ohtani and Betts, I'll mostly be playing them at first and shortstop, but just want to acknowledge that those are guys I'm getting to a lot of as well. I like Jared Kelenic in tournaments quite a bit. Cheese's guy, JJ Bleday, is somebody that I'm going to be getting double digits of today. and just good batters who are in good spots like Chris Bryant and Taylor Ward. I'm trying, pardon me, I'm trying to get to them as one-offs, as well as Lane Thomas, a cheapie batting leadoff for Washington. I like as well.
Cheese, outfield.
Yeah, this position is crazy fantastic. Like, if you just go position by position, like we've done, like as you get through the infield, you think, well, this is a pretty bad slate. There's nothing to like, and then you get to the outfield, and it's like, oh, it's the greatest slate I've ever seen. It's like there's a dozen superstars that you want, all of them, and there are really good cheap plays too. But you are, even if you play aces, you can have salary to play 3 expensive outfielders. I would go like Judge I think is the obvious top guy. And then I would go Alvarez and Jazz Chisholm as the next 2 guys I want the most of. But they're all just fantastic. Even the mid-tier is fine. Like TJ mentioned Kelnick. I think you play like guys like Jock Peterson. So Bader will be chalky and good. You play Jorge Soler. I like all the cheap nationals, depending on how that lineup looks. Blade, Corey Julks. It's fantastic, and it's loaded. If you have money, just don't goof around and just play the big guys. But if you need to go like 2 expensive and 1 cheap, there's more than enough options.
Okay, very good, guys.
We're still 20 likes away from the 4th Spidey Bomb. I'm going to need the people to hit it, but Cheese spoiled it a little bit, and so I'm going to give it early for the people because it's nice early morning. It's not Cheese's fault. It's a great play. It's Jazz Chisholm, Spidey Bomb, number 4 today. Another player that you can find odds at plus 500 to hit a home run today. Over on FanDuel, he's at plus 520 to hit a home run. Just way too good of odds for a guy like Jazz. Jazz Chisholm is Spidey Bomb number 4.
Very good. Guys, we've got about 5 minutes until lock. We've got some home run picks. Cheese, would you mind throwing in a home run pick for me? We got 4 Spidey Bombs already in. You can't say Judge. Something a little different.
Yeah, I would have said Jazz, but I won't steal the Spidey Bomb. So if we try to look.
The last time there was a dual Cheese and TJ home run call, it was Christian Walker who went for 2 bombs.
He hit 2. Yep, I remember that day. Hit 2 bombs. And you were both like so confident in that call too that it was hilarious. Cheese, you said he was going to hit 1, and Cheese was like, "Yeah, he just definitely is going to hit a home run," and then he hit 2. That was fun.
Yeah,
Cheese.
So I'll go a little sneakier and go with Joey Meneses.
Very good. Book It Boy says, "Hey, I got a question for Cheese. Cheese has got a question for you. Bregman, Bader, or Andy Ibanez and Alvarez?" This is a DK Cash question.
Bregman, Bader.
Very good. Going to see if we got some QQs coming in the old Discord and the YouTube chat. Hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, this free content with 2 of the sharpest minds in the business, hit that thumbs up button for us. We appreciate it. We're trying to get this show free, keep this show free for as long as humanly possible. Richie Small says, "I got a 3-man stack with the Nats. Any Candyman against Manea?" Who the hell's Candyman?
Yeimer Candelario.
Oh, thank you.
And absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, there you have it. See here. Really not a whole lot of questions come in. Guys, you can ask about anything. You can ask Cheese what he's going to eat for lunch. I'm curious.
I'm also curious.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
So I have 1 piece of fried chicken left. So I don't know if that's lunch or dinner. I really haven't decided yet. I am taking suggestions at this point.
Are you going to eat the fried chicken cold? Are you going to microwave it, or are you going to put it in an oven to get it crisp again?
So here's the deal. Previously to about a year ago, this was always a conundrum. What am I going to do? But now that we have an air fryer, this is no brainer. Always air fry it.
So clutch, yeah. Because that's why I eat it cold, is because then it maintains some sort of crispiness, whereas you put it in the microwave, that's all gone. But I need an air fryer, clearly.
Yeah.
Why is Josiah Gray better now? Was he?
So he's very they clearly, I don't know who they are. Hopefully if someone on the team just sat him down and made him understand that you can't give up that many home runs and remain in the league. Like you just can't
stop doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's added a cutter, like, and throwing it a lot. Like he's basically a 4-pitch guy now. And the cutter has made a big difference. And he's not throwing the fastball. Like he's gone from 52%. I don't know his numbers off the top of my head. 52% fastballs to 43 to 31. Because his fastballs just all get hit out of the park. So hey, let's try something different. He swapped out 20% of them for a pretty good cutter. And now he's getting ground balls to righties, and he's just better. But it's real because he's changed his pitch mix.
Yeah, that's a very good answer. All right. Ball says DK Cash. TJ, you want Torkelson or Meneses?
Probably Meneses.
Okay. Book It Boy says another one. Cheese. This appears to be a 3v3 DK Cash. Torres, Ibanez, Erica Badu, or Vargas, Bregman, Thomas.
I need that one more time.
I shouldn't throw you off with the Erica Badu thing. I just can't help myself. Torres, Ibanez, Badu, or Vargas, Bregman, Thomas.
Vargas, Bregman, Thomas.
Okay, I have a great question for Afterlock that I'm excited to bring up. Do you like Esteri Ruiz as a play in DK Cash? I've got the money left for him in my build. TJ, any Ruiz? He's a nuisance if he gets on base.
Yeah, if you land on him, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm just going to try and see if there's anybody else in the price range super quick, since that game walks in 1 minute, that I like better. Yeah, I would go Ruiz over Grichuk, I think, so I'm okay with that.
Okay. Cheese, Tigers and Yankees stack. Is that too chalky?
No.
Very good. DKGPP, TJ, Rooker, Bregman, or Bader Pena?
Oof. Bader Pena.
Last man in a Detroit mini stack. DK single entry, Green or Baez?
Green.
Green, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going Kelly and Castillo. Is that an okay move, TJ?
I don't love Kelly, but yeah, it's fine.
All right. Hey, we've hit the lock, and I want to get to this question. Achilles says, I had a dream last night about Cheese introducing me to his farm, his horses, etc. It was such a nice place. He was doing yard work. What does all of this mean?
This means that the person who you imagine doing my yard work looks a lot like me, because that ain't me.
That's not you. I feel like the Cheese home is just such a peaceful place. It's happy. There's a horse frolicking. There is actually a horse. He's probably on a farm
now.
at your house.
These are nice thoughts. To be fair, we don't actually live on this farm. The horse lives like 15 minutes away on a farm.
Right. But it's fun to like picture.
Yes.
Maybe like 10 years from now, you'll move on the farm with the horse.
Theoretically, who knows?
Who knows? You never.
The problem is, like, there is so much nonsense you have to do to have a farm, and even if you hire people to do most of it, there's still a lot of nonsense that you have to do.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty tired already.
Yeah. I know that you have researched this clearly. You have thought this out. You've considered.
Well, we've been around a lot of I have learned a lot about horses and farms and what goes into it, and it's a lot.
Yeah, it's
a lot. I know that I do not want to do almost any of it.
Let's see. Bill says it's clear that you guys do give thought to the answers on the QQs, not just spouting off whatever comes to mind to get to the next question. Well done. I feel like that's a great way to end it. I can't always tell. You guys are, trying to put in effort to get the right answer, not just an answer. So good work, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yep, that's how we're going to end it. Duke says, is Cheese from Wisconsin? No, Cheese is not from Wisconsin. Cheese, you're from the South, right?
Cheese, the food item is, but Cheese the guy is not. Cheese the guy was born actually in the Midwest and then grew up in Colorado and has lived in Alabama for over 20 years, but no part of that is Wisconsin.
Right, but clearly not born in the Deep South, because you do not have like the Alabama accent at all.
No,
you have not picked that up whatsoever.
I did not come here until I was in my early 20s.
Yeah. Hey guys, that was a wonderful show. Good work. I think we are going to bounce on out of here. So for Cheese, for TJ, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you later on tonight. You have been crushed.